I'm so just remain standing, please. I'm so happy that y'all showed up. I was getting so many "we're not going to be there" texts this morning. I was like, okay, is anybody going to be here? So I think a lot of people still out of town from Thanksgiving, but I hope you had a good one. I trust that you did. I did. Um, it was an interesting Thanksgiving. It was all of the above, and glad to have Jared and Meredith back with us. They went out to see their mom, who was just recently moved to Kansas City, and I I'm amazed they pulled this off. But he flew with his other grandparents. Come on in. His other grandparents out there, and they used the same Uber. And I said, "Wait, you're sending an Uber to their house, and then they're coming to pick you up and get to the airport?" I just didn't think they could pull it off, but they did. So it was like you have no idea what a coup that was. And they're here with their friend Kira, and she's. I'm not supposed to say this. She's doing some kind of story on us, so she asks something about me, say really, really good stuff. Some things like, "Oh my God, he changed my life." So I appreciate that. Just kidding. And glad to see Tom and Ira, who fried me a turkey last night. It was the first time I've ever had fried turkey. It was really, really good. Yeah, if I actually cooked, I would get one of those fryers. But since they live around the corner from me, I'll just walk over to their house when it's time. All right, let's hit this, and then I'll introduce Chelsea to you. The official start. Good morning, buenos dias, bonjour, willkommen. Welcome to Metron. Glad that you're here. Happy Thanksgiving. Those of you that just logged on, welcome wherever you are in the universe. I don't know what happened, why last week's teaching was so popular, because usually it's we have 200 or 300 viewers on a Sunday, but by Wednesday we had like 1,100 views, and I don't know why. Now I think some people misunderstood because I asked the question. I wasn't saying, "Did you think it was a good teaching?" I was like, I'm wondering why did that many more people log on? Like I didn't know if something happened. Avery said there's a different button we have on the website. It makes it maybe a little easier to log. I don't know if that was it, but I usually by Wednesday there's like 150 views or something. It was like 1,100 something. I was like, what the what? So that's good. Yeah, I guess that's what it was. And Leona said she heard Judah's name on the radio today. They must be advertising Preachers of Atlanta. And if you haven't, it's been on my page. I showed the trailer to it. It's interesting how they edit things. So I don't know what I said, and it'll be interesting to see how they said that I said it. But that premieres. It's on Oxygen, right? Is it Oxygen or Bravo? Is it Oxygen? Oxygen on February 3rd. We have a great bonus this month because November had 5 Sundays, which meant we were able to get the amazing Chelsea Shag, who I like better every time I hear her sing. I like her even that much better. So when we worked it out, I said, "Now November's got 5 Sundays. Can you be there for all 5?" And she said, "No problem." And so she is here. Would you once again please welcome Chelsea Shag? Chelsea!
Well, I'm sad this is my last time playing for the month, but it's been a lovely time. You guys have been beautiful. And you probably got so many views because my cover Dance with Somebody was so good.
That was it.
Who doesn't love Whitney Houston on a Sunday morning? Yeah, I wanted to play you guys an original, and I chose my most funkiest song. It's called New Perfume. It's about smelling good for your new bae. New perfume for my new baby. I said new perfume for my new baby. I said new perfume for my new baby. I want a new perfume for my new baby. Oh, she like it, I know it. Whenever she show it, I own it. Those kisses, baby, love, I miss it whenever she's with me. New perfume for my baby. True perfumes for my new baby. My heart goes boom, boom, ka-boom, boom for my new baby. And a new perfume for my new baby. This funky tune for my new baby. Oh, she like it, I know it. Whenever she show it, I want it. Those kisses, baby, love, I miss it whenever she's with me. New perfume for my baby. Oh my love, oh she show it, I know it, those kisses, baby, love, I miss it whenever she's with me. Whenever she's with me. I know it, whenever she show it, I know it, those kisses, baby, love, I miss it whenever she's with me. New perfume for my baby. Oh. Thank you. You know, you gotta smell good for your bae. This next one is a Christmas song that the bishop wanted to hear. And it goes a little something like this. Christmas time is here. Happiness and cheer. Fun for all that children call their favorite time of year. Snowflakes in the air. Carols everywhere. Olden times and ancient rhymes for hope and dreams to share. Sleigh bells in the air. Beauty everywhere. Olden times and ancient rhymes, golden dreams to share. Christmas time is here. We'll be drawing near. Fun for we could always see such spirit through the year. Fun that we will always see such spirit through the year. I love that Charlie Brown original. It's beautiful. This next one is a song called EXO. It's actually by Beyonce, but it's like a very sweet love song. And yeah, you were laughing at me.
Yeah, I was laughing at Corday's reaction.
Beyonce, yes. This one's called EXO. Your love is bright as ever, even in the shadows. Baby, kiss me before they turn the lights out. And your heart is glowing, and I'm crashing into you. Baby, kiss me before they turn the lights out. In the darkest night, oh, in the darkest night, oh, I search through the crowd. Your face is all that I see. Give you everything, baby, love me lights out. You can turn the lights up, baby, be the hot forever. Ooh, baby, daylight's wasting. You can take me before the time is run out. Ooh, yeah. By the seas where we see, we're just hopelessly gazing. Oh, you can take me before the time is run out, before they turn the lights out. Baby, love me lights out in the darkest night. Oh, in the darkest night. Oh, I search through the crowds. Your face is all that I see. Give you everything, baby, love me lights out. And you can turn the lights out. Baby, love me lights out. I love you like EXO. You give me by EXO. Oh, you love me like EXO. You love me like EXO. Oh, all that I see. Give you everything. Baby, love me lights out. You can turn the lights out. Baby, love me lights out. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Thank you. Thank you. This last song was actually, I learned it for your bae, Ken, and he's not even here.
He's probably streaming.
Well, this one's for you. This is, if he was here, he would cry. That's always my goal with Ken. Somewhere over that I once heard of, once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dream that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I wish upon a star and wake up with the clouds of fur behind me, where truffles melt like lemon drops, away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. If birds fly over the rainbow, then why can't I? If little happy bluebirds fly, then why, oh why, oh why can't Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure playing for you. Thank you, and I'll see you soon.
You don't have to do It's a Good Day, but I would love you that
Actually,
much more if you did.
okay.
But I don't want to put that on you.
That even ran through my head the other day. I was like, maybe I'll throw that in.
I love that
Okay,
one. It's my
okay.
favorite one.
It's just happy. And it's a good day. We're singing a song, and it's a good day. We're moving along, and it's a good day. How could anything be wrong? It's a good day from morning to night. And it's a good day. Put shine in your shoes, and it's a good day. For losing the blues, everything to gain and nothing to lose. It's a good day from morning to night. I said to the sun, I said good morning sun, rise and shine today. You know you got to keep going if you're gonna make a show. And you got to ride away, baby, 'cause it's a good day for paying your bills, and it's a good day for curing your ills. So take a deep breath and throw away the bills, 'cause it's a good day from morning to night. I say good morning, sun. I say good morning, sun. Rise and shine today. You know you got to keep going if you're gonna make the show. And you got to ride away, baby, 'cause it's a good day. We're curing your bill, baby, it's a good day to pay off your bills. So take a deep breath and throw away the bills, 'cause it's a good day from morning to night. 'Cause it's a good day from morning to night. 'Cause it's a good day from morning until night.
Yay!
Thank you so much.
Chelsea Shine. I love it. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Beautiful. Well, this will not be the last time you see Chelsea. We have her number, and she will definitely be back. Again, thank you so much. Excellent. You may be seated. And uh, good stuff. When I'm really enjoying the music, I have to really switch gears to get up here and talk because I want to just sit there and listen. But Marshall Ruffin will be back with us next month, so I really wanted to finish out the year with him, and that's going to be excellent. You know that our outreach for this month is Rehoboth, and we've already given to them. And our outreach for December is the project they're doing at Virginia Highland Church, and we've already given to them. So we're already ahead of schedule. But they were on that project, and I just wanted to go ahead and do it. So that's really good. We've been able, this year we've given to American Cancer Society, St. Jude's Children's Hospital, the National Kidney Foundation. I don't remember all. We've the orphans in Haiti, and that's good. I'm glad that we're still reaching out like that, and so what you give here goes to that as well. But I did want you to know that we're already paid out for the rest of the year. Hope you are y'all coming to the Christmas thing? Okay, good. Let me just say this: if any of you would like to give toward it to help offset, because the $20 doesn't even nearly pay off what the room and the caterer and all that kind of stuff, but we want to do it, and I want to keep it affordable because I don't want to really. This quality kind of thing would usually be $7,500 a person. I'm not asking you to give that. I'm saying if any of you want to give toward it, because I've still got to. We're going to pay the service for your valet parking and all that kind of stuff, but it's going to be. If you don't know, it's Wednesday, December the 16th. It's an open, not buffet, but heavy hors d'oeuvres. And so those of you that are driving great distances, you won't be under pressure to get there for a certain time to sit down. I'm still figuring out what we're going to do entertainment wise, but it's a beautiful room. You're going to have excellent pictures. They even have a thing, if any of you are interested in this, they have for events they have there, they've got these two, well, you could see how it's very New Orleans-ish, and they've got these two big red crushed velvet thrones where you can take pictures, and they've got costume changes. Like if you want to do that, look, some people are really into that. So it'd be a good time for you to get some really good Christmas pictures. The whole room is, it's done like that. So I think there's a sign up thing on the website right now. So, and the sooner you can let us know that you are coming, it kind of helps us know. We sort of estimated about the same number that we had last year. So we're kind of going with that. But with that YouTube thing going on, I don't know. We might have 2,000 people to pray for a miracle. Multiply the loaves and fish. Not the loaves, yeah, loaves and fish. All right. Was that everything I needed to announce? I believe it is. I have really enjoyed this. I love everything that we talk about here, but this month especially. I don't like to talk in platitudes and out there and something that's not accessible. I want to talk about things that are really going to make your life better. Jesus spoke in the voice of every man. And that's why even children were attracted to him, and people that the religious hierarchy would have considered sinners, they actually were very attracted to Jesus. They weren't put off by him. That's why it's interesting, even when they've moved to China now, but even when Matthew and Isabel were coming here, he's an atheist. And I said, well, I'm just curious. I don't mean this in a judgmental way, but does it not bug you to hear me talking about God and refer to the Bible? And he said, no. He said, it's the oddest thing. He said, usually it would, but he said, you actually make me think and you make me consider things I'd never thought of before. And you put it forth in a cerebral way, but not in a way that's over people's heads. And he said, I actually love listening to it. And I said, I know a lot of ministers wouldn't be happy to hear that atheists like their teaching. It's like, for some of my critics, they'd be like, well, that sounds about right. Figures. But I just have the feeling that the atheists would have loved Jesus too. And it just seems like the people that were trying to see him through that religious lens just could not see him. And everybody else could see him easily. And that's why if you go back and read the Gospels, most of the conversations that he had one-on-one were with people who were not part of the covenant, like the centurion, the woman at the well, the Syrophoenician woman, the Canaanite woman. All of these were people who not only didn't worship Jehovah God, they kind of really didn't even know who he was. And when Jesus said the greatest faith in Israel belonged to somebody, it was a polytheistic pagan Roman who said that. He said, you speak a word and my servant will be healed. And Jesus said, well, that's the greatest faith in Israel. Well, the people who were close to him, trying to see him as a fulfillment of prophecy, couldn't see him, because sometimes prophecy is fulfilled in our lives, but it doesn't look like what we thought it was going to look like, so we don't notice it. Like for me, I believe that I will not leave this planet until every prophetic word that's been spoken over my life will be fulfilled. Having said that, I also know that all the words don't look like what I thought they looked, what they meant to me at the time. Do you know what I mean? Now I see the way things have played out and I go, oh, that's what that meant. I thought it meant this, but there's some things that only time is going to reveal. It's just one scripture I want to use today, and I'm using it in two different translations. And this is it's where we get the phrase going from glory to glory. You hear that a lot in New Testament churches, go from glory to glory. Some translations say from level to level. I'm not going to show you the whole chapter, but in the context, this is where it's talking about when Moses came off Mount Sinai. He kept his face veiled because he didn't want to see the people. He didn't want people to see that the glory was departing him. And then he goes on. Paul's talking about Jewish believers, and he says, or his Jewish brethren, and he said, when they read the law, there's a veil over their face now. He said, but when they come to God, the veil will be removed. What's interesting about this is, evangelicals have developed a theology that says, you come to Jesus, you get saved, or you get born again, and then you're changed. That's not really realistic. That's not the way it happens. Paul told the Corinthians, he said, if any man's in Christ, he's a new creature. But the new creature doesn't happen all at once. It is an evolutionary process. That's why if a Hindu tells me that they believe in reincarnation, I can dialogue with them, because I don't believe necessarily that I'm going to die and come back as a different animal or something, but I do understand the concept of it taking a while to get there, and that you have to go through different incarnations. I believe at the end of the day, we're going to find out that all the spiritual people were saying the same thing. We just didn't realize we were saying it. And so when people believe that it literally meant you're going to die and come back, because this is a simplistic way to explain it, but that's what Hindus believe, is you keep going through the evolutionary process till you become like God. Don't you remember even when George Harrison sang My Sweet Lord, but he says, but it takes so long, my Lord. The idea was, I'm having to go through this evolutionary process. Well, guess what? That's true for Christians too. Haven't you ever noticed that there's a thing that happened in your life that it just killed a part of you, and you thought, well, that's it. I'm dead now. But guess what? You were resurrected as a different incarnation. And at the time you felt like, well, I'm never going to live again, but you did. And you lived on another level, and everything that you go through, if you learn how to channel it correctly in your thinking, you'll find that if your heart is toward God, everything that you experience in your life is going to move you in that evolutionary process, even if they are many deaths. When somebody says to me, do you believe in being born again? I say, absolutely. I just don't believe it happens at one time. I believe that the new birth is something that happens to us over and over and over again. Some of you right now are in a death season, and you know who you are. And there's nothing anybody can do for you when you're in death, except sit outside the gate and pray. Remember when Jesus went in the Garden of Gethsemane and he said, I need you guys to wait with me. And they couldn't because they'd been drinking wine at the Last Supper. And, they kept falling asleep. And he came out on 3 different occasions and said, can you not just watch with me 1 hour? And then finally he says, all right, it's fine. Sleep on. Because he basically was needing their support, but those guys couldn't possibly get their head around what he was going through. This is why it's such a waste of time to judge other people, because you do not know. You can say, well, I can tell you what's wrong with your marriage. No, you don't. You don't know what went on behind closed doors. You don't know. You look at somebody's kid that ended up messed up or in jail. You say, well, if they've been a better parent. You don't know that. Listen, I know some of the best parents in the world that have raised criminals. And I know other people that were raised by we used to have a woman in the church. I never would have told this publicly. This has been so many years ago. Nobody would know. But I wouldn't say she was a prostitute, but off the record, that's kind of what she did. And, she had this daughter by one of I don't even know if she knew who the dad was. And there's no way to tell you the horrible way this little kid was raised. Just all the trappings of that kind of life that you can think, drug abuse, physical abuse, blah, blah, blah. The daughter grows up to be valedictorian of her high school class, goes to school, puts herself through college. It completely defies logic, which is why you can't judge other people, because you do not know. You do not know what they went through in their childhood. You don't know what they're working through right now. That's why unconditional love is so important. Just to say, look, I don't even have to understand what you're going through right now. I'm just here for you, and I love you. And even if the drama of your life doesn't play out as I would like for it to, and I'm getting ahead of myself here because I want to talk about that part of it a little bit later. I'm referring to things that will be on the screen if I'm not hitchhiking. If you want. What's he doing? Is he thumbing for a ride? Let me just get into it and I'll show you. This is 1 Corinthians 3:18. This is in the New King James Version. And Paul says, but we all with unveiled face, beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord. We've talked about that, how he talked to the Corinthians about seeing God in his reflection. Are being transformed into the same image, not immediately, but from glory to glory, just as by the Spirit of the Lord. Let me tell you, when Paul used the word glory, let me tell you what he was meaning. In the letter to the Corinthians, he talked about the sun has a particular glory, the moon has a particular glory, meaning they have different essences, they have different functions, but they're each beautiful in their own way. This is kind of a New Testament way of what Ecclesiastes said, to everything there is a season. Like Doc Sheila texted me last night. She's still out in where her sister lives, where her mother lived. Her mom passed away last week. She was 94, and it's one of those things. Any of you that have lost either a very elderly relative or a relative or a loved one that's been sick for a long time, it breaks your heart when they pass, but it's also a relief. You know what I mean? It's like you feel two things, and sometimes you feel such a relief you really feel guilty about it. Like, should I be this happy? But it's really okay. Honestly, I think everything you feel is appropriate. It's like, well, all right, I miss who they were in my life, and that season was over, which is why every season you're in, you really have to carpe diem the heck out of it and just say, I'm going to enjoy it as much as I can, because every season does move really fast. And so you have to enjoy it while it's happening. And to quote Dr. Seuss, don't cry that it's over, smile that it happened. But we move on. Like I had while Ken's on call, I usually get caught up on all the movies I don't want to make him sit through, because he sits through a lot of them with me. But I'm like an extreme cinephile. Like I wouldn't make him, bless his heart, if he's watching. Like if I get a DVD, I want to watch the director's commentary. I want to watch all the, and I would rather just watch it by myself, because I can tell it's boring somebody else. So I've seen a lot of movies this week. Plus, you don't get this, but I get it, because pay the rent here. Well, you actually help me pay it, but I could see movies free here. They comp my movies. So yeah, I know you should have a ministry in a theater sometime. And I actually was gonna. There was something I wanted to see here, so I came the other day. I had plenty of time, and Stephen was at the counter. I was going to pay for it because I've comped several lately, and he said, "No, I have to sign a thing going in." Well, then there was a couple of more I wanted to see here that are in this theater, so well, I'm in no hurry. I'll see lots of movies. So I wouldn't make Ken sit through some of the ones. When I went to see the documentary about Peggy Guggenheim and how she put together, I thought you got to really want to see that movie. there's there's no action sequences in it, if you know what I mean. But so I got I saw the movies, and then I was at Starbucks. I was online, and then Jonah. This was Friday. Jonah texted me, said, "You want to go see a movie tonight?" Well, I've seen about 3 today, but what the hey? So ended up Judah came, so we went over to Tara and saw something else. And we were talking about Jonah has such a very matter of fact way of putting things. Because I was telling him, I said, tonight I've gotten several texts from people who used to go to church and now who tell me how much they miss it, and they're really like, "I'm glad you're happy now." It's a little bit of a guilt trip, but it's like, "I'm glad you're happy now, but I really miss it." And it's really always people complaining about there not being a Wednesday night service who never came to Wednesday night service, and it's like that's typically the people who came all the time are fine with it. And that's what Jonah said. He said, "Well, they don't realize those of us who went to every service, we're totally good with it." Jonah, it's my favorite thing you've ever said. But we were talking about how it's so difficult sometimes for people to think fondly of something that was real in their life, but not be able to grasp the fact that that's changed now, and that's not a bad thing. And I was telling them, I said, I loved when y'all were both babies. I was even thinking when Chelsea was singing "Somewhere Over the Rainbow," Jared wouldn't remember this, but when he and Christina were little, I used to play the Wizard of Oz soundtrack a lot in the car. And Jared could sing every word to the Tin Man song. And he was real little. He probably even remember, but it was real cute. I'd say, "Jared, sing me the Tin Man song." And he'd say, "When a man's an empty kettle, he should be on his mettle. And yet I'm torn apart." There was a way, his little 3-year-old voice singing, "And yet I'm torn apart." It was adorable. You remember that? But I was saying to the boys the other night, I said, I loved when you all were little. I loved every phase. I was a very hands-on dad. I was a diaper changer. I was a teach them to walk, teach them to ride a bike kind of. I taught Jared how to drive. I taught you how to swim. I was very hands-on. But I don't miss them being, I love that we did that, but I love now when he's walking in with his beautiful girlfriend and invite. That's what I love now. And I was telling the boys the other night, I said, they're behind the screen. I was telling the boys, I don't know why I keep gesturing. But I said, I loved when y'all were little. Y'all were adorable. But I love now that you can call me and say, "Let's go see a movie." And we stayed out late. We went to have breakfast, and it was great. And I said, I loved that. I love this, and I don't think one is better than the other. They're all just different glories, if you will, of what it means to be a parent. And then, ideally, as they get older, I mean, I took on, since all my kids were going to be with their moms and their moms. Sounds like I was married so many times. I was just married twice with every last one of their mother. So I took them all out Monday night. We went to Mary Mac's and had turkey and dressing and everything. And Sophia and Olivia were there. And I was asking the table, I said, "Is this it? Is this all the grandchildren I'm going to have? I mean, I'm fine. I just need to know, are we done? Is this the max? Should I wait for more? Whatever." Jonah said, "Well, it's nothing I'm working on right now at the moment, Dad." I said, "Well," okay. Jared said, "You might get a grand dog." So I don't know. We'll see. He hates when I say this. So I'll say it one more time because he hates it. When I was your age, I had 4 children. That's all I'm saying. But it was a different glory. Anyway, what's that got to do with what we're talking about this month about the journey of self-discovery? All right. I want to show you, let me show you this same, this is actually verses 16 through 18, and this is in the Message translation. I love the way he says this here. He says, whenever, though, they turn to face God as Moses did, God removes the veil, and there they are, face to face. They suddenly recognize that God is a living personal presence, not a piece of chiseled stone. And when God is personally present, a living spirit, that old constricting legislation, when he talks about stone, he's talking about the Ten Commandments because they were in tablets of stone. That old constricting legislation is recognized as obsolete. We're free of it, all of us. Nothing between us and God. Our faces shining with the brightness of his face. And so we are transfigured, much like the Messiah, our lives gradually, I love that word gradually becoming brighter and more beautiful as God enters our lives and we become like him. If you know how to age properly, if you get your head on straight, aging is actually a good thing, because as you get older, you get less subject to peer pressure. You get less, it matters less to you what people think. You hopefully have learned some lessons, and you know what you like and what you don't like. And, you know, when you're young and you're impressionable and you're insecure and you want to be popular, people will tell you what you like. They'll tell you what you think. And if you're not really strong on those points, they'll not even, they're well intentioned, but they'll kind of fill in the blanks and tell you this is what you want, this is what you like. And so people end up getting their destinies hijacked by people who are vicariously living their life through them, and they end up going to the school they didn't want to go to, marrying the person they didn't want to marry, living in the house, doing all this kind of stuff, and they don't even realize that they're beholden to this other person. And if I'm telling you, if you don't make a declaration of who you are, the people around you will tell you who you are, and you end up being this amalgam, this Frankenstein monster of bits and pieces of other people's agendas. And then suddenly you're not even living your own life. And hopefully, as you get older, you part with those childish things. And you realize, no, you know what? I don't like that. I don't want to do that. And I don't have to, I'm at an age now, I don't care about being popular. You know what I care about like more than anything else is me liking me. Because as I have quoted, and I don't even remember the guy who said it, but I love the quote, the downside to compromising and being something that other people want is everybody likes you but you. And everybody's happy that you're fulfilling their idea for you, but you're living out their dream, their intention. That's why, I've said it a bazillion times. Let me say it one more time. That scripture in Proverbs, I think it's chapter 26, where he says, bring up a child in the way he should go, and when he's older, he'll not depart from it. I was always taught that meant raise them with ethics and morals and standards and religion, and when they grow up, they'll stay with it. That's not what that's saying. If you go back and look at the Hebrew, it says, bring up a child in the way he or she should go, according to his or her individual gift or bent. Meaning, there's a way that you have to be raised that's right for you. Those of you that have more than one child know you can't even discipline them all the same way. They respond to discipline differently. You treat them differently because they are different people, and you can mold them a little bit, but pretty much they kind of come in with their own personalities, and you have to figure out what that personality is and play to its strengths and understand that they are who they are. I'm getting ahead of myself on this, but let me just stop and say this before I forget it, because I don't want this month to pass without me saying this. There are some people in your life that are not going to change. They are who they are. They don't want to change. They're not going to grow. They don't want to grow. It's up to you to stop putting yourself through the same craziness that you've gone through because you still want them to be different, and you end up in this cycle of they disappoint you the same way that they disappointed you over and over and over again. This is why not only unconditional love is important, but unconditional acceptance. Just realize they are who they are, and that's the way they are, and they're not going to just go ahead and accept they're probably not going to change. Then if they do change, you'll be pleasantly surprised. Let me explain it to you this way. There's a fine line in relationships. We've talked about perception. Jesus, when he was in his hometown, could do no mighty miracles because the people didn't see him as the Son of God. They saw him as Joseph the carpenter's son. So he became subject to their perception of him. You remember at the end of My Fair Lady, when Eliza Doolittle has this big confrontation with Professor Henry Higgins, and he says, what's the problem? And she said, well, Colonel Pickering treats me like a lady because he sees me as a lady. You see me as a flower girl, and to you I'll always be that. And there's a truth to that. I've learned this over the years, especially when the church was big and we were getting a lot of attention and stuff. I would notice that if somebody brought a family member to church in the now and they'd really raved about it a lot, the family member would nearly always come in with a defense mechanism against it. You know what I mean? It's like they don't even know why, but when somebody tells you love somebody, they're telling you how great something else is, people automatically have I don't know about that. So many years I've had people say, Bishop, I don't know why my kid, I love the church so much, my kids don't love it, or my husband or my wife doesn't love it like I do. It's probably because you told them it was so great and they interpreted it as, well, you're not as great as this person. I mean, I used to have it all the time, and it's really ironic now that I came out, but it used to happen a lot with women who would come to church first and go home and rave to their husbands about me. Well, Bishop said this, a bishop said that. They are pure in heart about it, but that guy is hearing, who is this guy that you're talking about so much? You never rave about me like that. So he automatically comes in with, an issue. And I'm like, dude, I got 3,000 members. I never even met your wife. I don't know what's going on. And I'm gay. So like, relax. You got a whole thing going on that is, it's pointless. You got a one-man show you're appearing in, and I am not a producer on that show. Come on now. But that's just the nature of people. When you tell some, that's why if you're going to invite somebody to Metron, they may not see it the way you see it because they don't have the history with me that you have. So if you're going to invite them, you need to say something like, look, I love this a lot. I would love for you to love it. You may not love it, but would you just come check it out one time? If you don't love it, that's fine. I get it. I'm always going to love it. So if you don't love it, that's fine. Don't tell me what you don't love about it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to hear, I don't like that guy said something, because I'm not open-minded about that. You know what I mean? It's like if you love something a whole lot and you realize the people that you love don't love it the way that you do, like my friend Howie that I went to college with, he's back there. We love a lot of the same movies, but when we go up to his cabin, he'll always buy a bunch of old movies on Blu-ray, and we'll watch a lot of stuff. But sometimes he doesn't like something that I really, really like, and I'm like, Howie, we can't ever have this conversation because this could be a deal breaker after 40 years of the fact that you don't love that movie makes me have to rethink everything about you. Like, I don't even know who you are. We just going to have to, let's just take that one out of the box and let's don't ever discuss that again, because it's so important to our friendship that you get why I love that movie. And the fact that you don't makes me think that maybe we should have never met each other in the first place. I mean, so that's the way I'm about things that I really love. I'm like, you know what? If you don't love it, that's fine. Let's just don't ever discuss it again. But also understand that other people, you can't make other people love what they don't love. To this day, I've tried. If I had to go vegetarian, I could. I'm a quasi-vegetarian as is. Like if a doctor said you got to be vegetarian, I'd be like, all right, fine. It wouldn't be that major of a lifestyle shift for me. But I cannot bear raw tomatoes. I like them cooked. Ketchup, I'm good with. Marinara, salsa, Bloody Marys, tomato juice. I'm good with all of that. There's something about that little raw mucusy thing that's in the middle. And I don't care how many times you tell me it's delightful. It's disgusting. So I don't want to see you eat it. If I have a salad, I'm going to pick them all out of my salad. I've tried to eat them. I went through phases where I just thought, suck it up and eat the tomato. And I try to eat it and I'd just be like, I just can't. And there's no other vegetable I feel that way toward. I probably love some vegetables that you would find revolting. I love them all. Not raw tomatoes. I'll even eat a sun-dried tomato, but not raw. Don't you bring me no raw tomatoes, Sam I am. What's that got to do with self-actualization? Well, to understand there are things about you that are unique to you, and as you go from glory to glory, what's being revealed, and there are fundamentalists who would think this is a false doctrine, whatever, but the more you reveal the real you, the more you reveal God. Everything that is phony about you is the part of you that's not like God. The path toward God is the path toward authenticity. So with everything that you go through, the glory to glory is level to level, death to resurrection. And that's why he says, where did he say we see the glory of God? In a what? In a mirror. So you're seeing it in your reflection. You're not looking through a glass darkly. You're seeing in the glass. Let me show you this quote that I really like by this rabbi. It says, we have stories to tell, stories that provide wisdom about the journey of life. What more have we to give one another than our truth about our human adventure as honestly and as openly as we know how? Thursday night, I had posted some pictures of, like on Thursday, Ken's on call, but he came over and met me, and we went to Uncle Donnie and Clarice's house, and Mom and Dad were there, and it was a good Thanksgiving, and I got to spend time with my cousins, and it was good. Posted pictures. So Thursday night, I'm scrolling down the feed, and I'm looking at other people's pictures. I'm even looking at Jared and Christina with their, at Terry's house with my ex-in-laws, and I'm looking at that, like, wow, that I was a part of that life. Jared's grandmother and I had the same birthday, so we used to have to celebrate birthdays together. Well, I haven't seen Ben and Joe in years, and I've seen Terry and Andy a few times, but they're Jared and Christina are the ones I see. So I'm looking at them, then I'm looking at, there's a picture that Judah had posted at the Covington house. Debbie's in the process of selling that right now. So, she was there with Bo and Shirley, and I was looking at that, and I thought, wow, I was a part of that life at one time, and I'm in a different phase now. And then I'm scrolling through different people's pictures, like, wow, their kids have gotten so big, or wow, they're really aging, or, like I'm seeing all these kind of different things. And then I was looking at people who had lost someone this year, and I could tell they'd had a kind of a difficult. I'm saying it all to say, as I'm just scrolling through 5,000 friends on a Facebook page, I'm just looking at the human drama, like, wow, all these people's lives have, gone through so much transition. And I put a different profile picture on, and it's one I'd used before, and Sandra had put a quote on there, and that's, if you don't know, that's somebody that just passed away a few days ago. And so I nearly got depressed about it, just looking at how much life is changing, how much life is moving, seeing the pictures of people that, they don't hate me, but they're not really part of my life anymore. And we're still Facebook friends, but our lives have moved in different directions, and it is what it is. And then I thought, this is just the way life is. It's not a bad or a good thing. It's just, it moves on, and it does go through phases. And what I'm seeing here is the truth. This is who all these people are and are becoming. Like when you look at my Facebook page, it's the most me that I've ever been. because I'm posting the truth about myself. I'm not, I know a lot of, I have gay friends that uh, don't put any picture of their partners or significant others online because they're not really out. And I think, wow, that's a very different experience from me, because you know, I don't want to live a life that's not really my life. I want to tell, and it's about giving other people the permission to find their truth, their evolution, their finding that energy of going from glory to glory until they are ultimately revealed. And let me tell you why this is so important. In the traditional church, we were told so much about changing. You got to change. You got to change. And it was the God who could never be pleased, and we're trying to be conformed to his image. Now, as it turns out, what was happening all along is we weren't supposed to change that much, as we were supposed to reveal who we were all along. What we thought were changes were actually the removal of costumes and masks, and realize, oh, this is who you always were, and you always were just beautiful in God's sight. You never were trying to please him. He just didn't like your costume. Let me show you this next one by this person. To exist is to change is to mature is to go on creating oneself endlessly. I agree with that, and I disagree with it. I think there's a truth to it. I think there is something to reinventing yourself, but I believe reinventing yourself is tapping into authenticity. It's not really coming up with a new persona as much as it is embracing who you always were. Let me show you this next one. I'm moving rapidly through these, but this is the great Thomas Merton from No Man is an Island. I love this one. This is probably the most important thing I'm going to say today. The beginning of love is the will to let those we love be perfectly themselves. The resolution not to twist them to fit our own image. If in loving them we do not love what they are, but only their potential likeness to ourselves, then we do not love them. We only love the reflection of ourselves as we find in them. This is the point I was trying to make a minute ago when I mentioned about My Fair Lady. It's the story from Pygmalion. And this one reality you have, I love this person. I love them because I see the best in them, and me seeing the best in them is going to bring out the best in them. That is a truth. That is a reality that should be embraced. Okay. But it has to be balanced with this other reality that they are who they are. And in relationships, it's hard sometimes for people to find that balance. I love that old Leon Russell song, A Song for You. And he goes, I know your image of me is what I hope to be. I love that line. I know your image of me is what I hope to be. And I do believe God puts people in your lives. I've touched on this several times at Metron. People in your lives, not the least of which are you, who still, you don't live in this neighborhood and you drive all the way here just because I want to be here and not in, Conyers or Covington. And you're like, all right, that's where we live, but that's not where you are. So we'll go find where you are. That makes me think, well, maybe I am that guy, because you obviously see the real me. Do you understand? Those of you who have just stayed with me through everything, I think, well, if I see myself through your eyes, it does bring out the best in me, and I feel an obligation to that. Like, wow, these people they've stayed with me through everything, and I guess I must have had something to offer. But the flip side to that is I have to know that I'm okay even if I didn't have that. Do you understand? It's like it's a great blessing, because if you are entirely dependent on that, then you still don't know who you are. And this, depending on how you hear it, it sounds like the height of arrogance, and I don't mean it that way, because I want you to say the same thing. If you have people in your life who love you, don't be a jerk about it, but also let people love you and realize you're worth it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, not in some kind of way of, you better recognize who I am. I don't mean like that. I mean, like, yeah, I believe I am valid. I believe I am a blessing in your life. And I think the same thing about you. I don't take you for granted either. If I'm telling you, this may sound idealistic, but if the world could grasp that, there would be so, I can't promise it would eradicate war and violence and that kind of stuff, but it would put a big dent in it for sure. If people just, well, let me put it this way. Let's say it this way. The more you're okay with who you are and really love who you are, it just naturally works out that you're okay with everybody else and you love them. It's why Jesus said, stop worrying about all the commandments. Just think about these two. Love God with all of your heart. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. The implication being love yourself first. Now, that's very simplistic and we are the world and blah, blah, blah. But it really is true. If I love me and I'm not trying to, I'm not this seething cauldron of insecurity that any word you say could tap into that insecurity. That way I can just love you. And if you say something that I don't like or that I disagree with, I can think, well, that's your opinion. Or if you don't see how awesome I am, I think, well, that's on you. When Jesus said, unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you have no part of me. And his staff went from 70 down to 12 from that one sermon. His disciples, they didn't understand he was speaking spiritually. They were like, what the heck are you talking about? Eat your flesh. We're out of here. And Jesus never retracted the statement, never tried to qualify it. He turned to the ones who were remaining. He said, well, are you going too? And I think it was Peter that said to him, where else would we go? You have the words of life. I'm not even sure he understood what he was talking about, but they said, well, we'll figure it out. But I do think there is a place you get with some people that there really isn't any deal breaker anymore. You know what I mean? Even if they say something that you completely disagree with. Look, some of you have been hearing me preach for 20, 25, 30 years. I am sure there have been things I have said in that length of time that you have disagreed with. And usually when I say that, people are like, damn straight. I'm like, all right, you don't have to be quite that. You don't have to agree that quite that dramatically. Well, you don't even know. I'm like, I know. But that's what covenant is. And I'm sure there are things some of you have said that I'm like, I didn't really like that or didn't agree with that. But it didn't mean we severed ties. And that is one of the most intrinsically revealing things about what's wrong with modern Christianity. Because the relationships that come out of modern Christianity are so fragile. And not just for people at church of the now, it's epidemic among churches, especially churches that aren't part of denominations. Like typically, if you live in America and you're Baptist, you go to the local Baptist church whether you like it or not. And if you don't like the pastor, they'll run him off and there'll be another one. But that's a whole different reality. But for churches that are built somewhat on a personality, which any independent church technically is, like a lot of what they believed was church growth statistics during the 90s and the early 2000s wasn't really church growth as much as it was redistribution. It was people leaving one church and going to another church. And I don't like this guy said that, so now I'm going over here. And then you've got the really gigantic churches like like T.D. Jakes or Joel Osteen that ended up absorbing a lot of people. The majority of people in their churches aren't converts that came to Christianity because of that church. They're people who went to have other church background and then migrated to the larger church for whatever reason. I'm not saying it's a good or a bad thing. I'm just saying it just is what it is. But if people have stayed in your life for any length of time, you must have something to offer. If somebody has stayed married to you for any length of time, you can't be all that bad. I mean, somebody's hung in there with you for whatever reason. If somebody has maintained a friendship with you, if you've kept a job for any length of time, I mean, at some point you have to start looking at your track record and thinking, well, all these people can't be crazy. I guess I got something. If your children like you, you know, more than anything else, if I passed on today, would somebody please say this at my funeral? More than anything else, more than whatever success I have achieved in my life, books I've written, whatever, my children like me. That is, if I never accomplished anything else, I think y'all like me, right? It's not an act, right? I can't tell you how important that is to me, because it's one thing to love your parents and feel obligated to them. It's a whole other thing to like them. And again, I know I brag about this a lot. If you don't like it, that's on you. But even Friday night, you know, my two younger sons are spending a Friday evening. Now, I think we got home late and Judah was going out to meet some people later on. I said, dear Lord, this late? And all right, fine. You're young and single. Enjoy. But I thought, and I just saw them Monday night, and the fact that they want to go hang out with me again, that's, if nobody else liked me, that would validate me so much, because I'm just so grateful that I had kids, and I really wanted kids. That's why I don't have any regrets about being married or anything. I'm happy that I have that. If you have people in your life that believe in you, you obviously have something going on. I think you all know this, but just when I think everybody's finally gotten it, I'll have a counseling appointment with somebody that I think, did you ever hear anything that I like? Do you really not know how awesome you are? Do you really not see it? Do you really not recognize? I guess I've been in the people business for so long. I feel like I have kind of a trained eye for the quality of people. And, you know, there's a reason why Jesus said, don't cast your pearls before swine, because in a pig's mentality, no matter how much you explain them, if you took the pig brochures and showed, you know, like, this is a strand of pearls from Tiffany. These are real pearls. These are pearls that were passed down from the Queen of England. The pig does not care. The pig's not going to get it. As a matter of fact, Jesus said, if you give it to him, the pig will turn and rend you. Like, you're just going to tick the pig off. And that's why Jesus also said, agree with the adversary quickly. The reason why that's important, if there's somebody that doesn't get you and they're just not going to get you, stop falling for the same thing over and over again, and stop being upset that they don't get you, because they're a pig and you're a pearl. They don't get it. I mean, I tried to find a nicer way to say it, but I'm just saying a pig's not going to understand the value of a pearl. Like, I can walk through stores that I don't really shop in that much anymore, because I'm kind of past that phase. But, you know, you think, I wonder how much this is. Oh yeah, it sounds about right. That's how much that label costs. If you don't know what that label is, you'll just look at it and go, dear God, why would anybody spend that? Well, that's because that's what that costs. The people who wear that label, that's what they spend on those clothes. And they don't flinch at paying for it, because that's what it costs. And you can argue about it all you want to and say you can call Neiman Marcus needless markup or whatever. The fact is, there's a whole bunch of people that buy that and wear that and think nothing of it. And so you can say it's wrong all you want to. They don't think it is. And at some point, how many metaphors I can torture here, but you have to realize you're like a really high label. And sometimes people don't understand. Like back in the day, I used to really buy elegant gifts for people, and I realized some people you don't need to buy elegant gifts for. Like, if somebody doesn't understand what Godiva chocolate is, don't go buy it for them, because they're just going to be bent out of shape that you spent that much money. If they need chocolate, go to Walgreens and get them a $2.98 box of Russell Stovers. They'll be fine with it. There's no point, because there's some people you want to elevate them by showing them the finer things, and they ain't buying it. So you might as well just get them what they want. And buy me the Godiva chocolate. Thank you. No, don't. I don't want to put that out there. I don't need any more chocolate. God help me. Um, anyway, this is really important to know that loving someone is not loving the image that you have of them in your brain. But that doesn't mean you don't see the best in them. Do you understand? Seeing the best in somebody still means that you embrace who they really are. I'm not sure I'm making that point today, but I just pray you get this, because some people don't know how to find that balance. Let me say it this way. You can see the best in everybody to the point that you're out of touch with reality. Like a woman that keeps going back to an abusive man and says, oh, he doesn't mean it. And when he beats me up, he's so sorry the next day and apologizes. That's denial. That's not seeing the best in somebody. That's living in a world that you think, no, he's going to get better. Probably not. And that's why it's so important that you get the balance of what I'm talking about. I remember when I started preaching ultimate reconciliation, I believe Jesus saved the whole world. A lot of people who were kind of elementary in their theology, they said to me, well, are you just saying if everybody's saved, we should just let everybody out of jail? I said, no, I never said that. I believe Jesus saved the world, but there's a lot of people I think should be behind bars. They're dangerous. I believe you're saved. I'll see you in heaven, but I want you to stay right behind the glass. I don't want salvation doesn't mean let them all out, come to my house. No. All right. I think I've made my point. This is by this writer. And this is important to what I'm talking about. Fear is a question. What are you afraid of and why? Just as the seed of health is in illness, because illness contains information, our fears are a treasure house of self-knowledge if we explore them. Now, this is really important. From the charismatic church, we were taught rebuke fear, come against fear. God has not given us a spirit of fear. There's no fear in love. We were very anti-fear. I'm not sure that's exactly right anymore. I think there is a kind of fear that's dangerous, but there's also a kind of fear that's informative. If you're so afraid of rejection, you have to ask yourself, well, why? Why am I so afraid of rejection? If you're afraid somebody's not going to approve of you, why is that? Why is somebody's approval that important? And your fears sometimes are indicators of things that you need to put under the microscope and think, well, why do I feel that way? Or why does that make me so angry? Or why is that person able to punch my button so easily? If someone's really affecting you and you're going to have to coexist with them, you need to ask, why is it that they affect me that way? I think I have one more. This is by Proust. The real great famous quote, the real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. I want to leave you with that for this month, because at the end of the day, it all comes back to perception. God is how you see God. These guys had me over last night, and Ira was raised in Kojic, Church of God in Christ. So it was a very similar type experience. And we were talking, they had another friend over last night. So we were talking to her about what it was like being raised in legalism. And I was saying, as much as I love movies, I was raised in a denomination that they said movies were a sin. So can you imagine how difficult that was for me? And I don't remember that the first movie I ever saw was at the Fox Theater, but the first one that made an impression on me was. I may even go over there today. They're showing Miracle on 34th Street. So I may go over there this afternoon and check it out for Christmas. But I remember going there when I was a kid. I was shushed into, don't ever tell anybody we went to the movies, because my dad could lose his job over that kind of thing. So you're taught inadvertently to lie, really. Like we don't think there's anything wrong with this, but brother so and so in the church does, and he's the head of the deacon board, and your dad could lose his job, so we're going to go see The Sound of Music. And I remember thinking, so we shouldn't even be in here. It's such a sin. Preachers used to say that demons were in the darkness of the theater, and the demons would possess you. Now, do you see why I have a church in a theater? I'm working out issues from my childhood. But I remember that was back when the Fox always started with cartoons, and the piano would come up out of the stage, and they would play a little concert. And I remember looking up at the planetarium thinking, man, we're outside and this is beautiful. And the movie was cool. And, I was an only child. So the whole idea of a big family with lots of siblings, I found very intriguing. And so I was really into that. And I just thought, man, if this is a sin, I'm going to have to get a new God. I've got to have to get a God that's okay with the movies. And we were talking about how, like, his mom recently wore a pair of pants, which was a huge, you might not think it's a big deal, but the world we came out of, you didn't do that. And you look back now and you think, God never cared about any of that stuff. That was just all stuff that people made up, even stuff that wasn't even the Bible. The denomination I was raised in, when people joined the church, my dad would read this thing that they had to agree to, and it even added stuff that wasn't in the Bible. Like, we don't believe in the joining of secret lodges, because that was back in the 60s when people were like in the Elks Club, and especially, we didn't even talk about the Masons, but like even things like the Elks and we didn't believe any of that, and anything that was of the world, anything that was worldly. And it's just ridiculous. We believe men should have short hair and women should have long hair, and just all kind of rules. And it makes you think about when Jesus spoke to the Pharisees and he said, you inflict burdens on these people that you yourselves don't live up to, because nobody can live up to them. And the reason I'm saying that with this thing about seeing new eyes is now I realize I can love God as who I am, and God never did care about that nonsense. That never did matter to him. I didn't get a new God. I saw the God that had always been there in new eyes. And so, like, I've had, I'm sure I've told you this, but right after I came out, there were three local, they're not senior pastors, but they're three guys, and you would have no way of knowing who they are, so I'm not uncovering anybody. But there are three guys that work in mega churches that are gay, who try not to be gay. And they're the kind of people who, like, they'll end up sleeping with somebody and then repent over it and go through deliverance and get demons cast out of them. And, so they're in that cycle all the time. So they were terrified to be seen with me. Like, we went to this very dark restaurant and sat in the back, and I sat with my back to the doorway. And I thought, should we go sit in the car? I mean, are you really, are you that scared? Because I was there was a lot being written about me at the time. And I said, they said, no, we just want to ask you some questions. And I said, okay. And the main question they had is, what's your relationship with God like now? And I said, better than ever. Why? And they were like, what? How could it be better? And I said, because I don't have to go through this song and dance in my head that I never did have to go through. God already knew who I was and made me just like I am in every possible way. I wouldn't change anything even if I could. And that's so liberating to know that God was always good and loving, and the stuff that people obsess over, God never cared about. It's like Jesus said, you strain at gnats and you swallow camels. The stuff that God really does care about, Christians don't even notice. They're like, the poor schmore. We don't care about the poor. We want to we want to tell gay people they shouldn't be married. I'm like, kind of missing the whole point. But it's so liberating, and whatever, same thing for you. It might be you've gone through certain things where you think, oh wow, I really thought God cared about that, but he doesn't. He cares about this. and he cares. The whole essence, the whole thing is about love. And if you don't love yourself, none of the rest of it works out. You can't even say you love God if you don't love yourself. Because if your relationship with God is this self-loathing thing where you're always doing the mea culpa and I'm never good enough, you still have not seen God. You don't know God. You're seeing God filtered through the eyes of people who had agendas. And let me tell you why that's important. You know, you could talk about ISIS and all the stuff going on with that. Those guys are just fundamentalists. That's all it is. It's people who are taking words written in the Quran and being fundamentalist about them and taking them literally. And Christians have done the exact same thing and in different ways still do the same thing. Christians aren't out killing Jews like they did during the, Crusades and that sort of thing, but they sure hate each other. There's 36,000 Christian denominations in the world, and they're all at odds with one another. Can you imagine that many? It's only 27 books of the New Testament. It's one story about a virgin conceives and has a son that grows up to calls himself the Son of God, dies on a cross, comes back. 36,000 different denominations. What? So there's somebody somewhere who never learned to just love God and to love themselves to the point that if somebody else disagrees with them, to say, well, all right, you disagree with me, that's fine. Let's go have lunch. But Christians said, no, we're not having lunch. We're starting a denomination and we're saying your denomination's going to hell. I've told you this before, but Reba told me one time that their little country church up in Kentucky was a real old school prophetic church where people prophesied a lot. And the church went through a split. And so people were on two different sides, were sitting on different sides of the congregation, prophesying against each other. Like somebody would get up and say, yea, the Lord thy God says that thou art in rebellion and the earth will swallow thee up. And because of you are a stench in my nostrils. And somebody else would get up and say, I did not say that, says the Lord. I said, you are the scum of the earth. They're like prophesying against each other. I said, wow, that is Fellini-esque. That is bizarre. When people they have taken their agendas to such an extreme, they're prophesying against each other. What? That's craziness. I still love Jesus, but I've opted out of that system. That's why when somebody says, are you a Christian? I'm like, define your terms. What do you mean exactly? Do I love Jesus? Yeah, I'm all about Jesus. Christians, that's sort of come to represent something that I don't fully subscribe to anymore. So I don't know how comfortable I am with that term anymore. Because some of the people I see on TV saying they're Christians, like, if that's what, if you're calling them that, no, I'm not that. I respect their right to be that. Fine, believe what you want to believe, but I'm not. Then call me something else because I'm not that. And if I call myself that, you're going to think I think certain things that I don't necessarily think. So we'll wrap it up with this. Whatever you're going through right now, you're in a phase that, believe it or not, is moving you toward a revelation of God. You might not see it, but God speaks to you through pain. He speaks to you joy and sorrow. He speaks to you through laughter and tears. All of it is a part of the process. You have to learn to embrace all of your life, every bit of it, even the unpleasant parts of it. Embrace all of it and let the process happen because it's moving you toward being able to see God in your reflection. You've got to stop hating yourself. You've got to stop beating yourself up over stuff that you did or that you didn't do. Whatever has happened in the past is over. You can't change it. What matters is the now, and you are going from glory to glory. And sometimes the two between glory to glory is really obnoxious because the two means transition. When do I get to the glory? Well, it's an ongoing process, but resurrection always follows death. And you're okay just like you are. You are being conformed to God's image. If something does need, I don't even think things need to change. I think things are removed from us and they appear to be changed. but it's the removal of grave clothes as Lazarus comes out of the tomb, and you are reborn on another level. You live again. Stop trying to change and just be who you are. That is the journey of self-discovery. Did you get anything out of this? Thanks. I do gesture this way a lot. I notice when it gets caught in pictures, it looks like I'm putting a mojo on you. Let's all stand. Let's run this, and then I'm going to speak a blessing over you. Again, to all of our guests, everybody who's here today, thank you so much. I know a lot of people are out of town today, so it means a lot that you guys were here. No, I will not give you a minute. Well, there's water. We're seeing water. And if we don't have it, it's fine. We don't have it. Oh, we do. All right. If any of you want to, so that I can keep the prices low, if you want to contribute to the Christmas banquet, just let us know, and you can do it online, or you can do it with a check. It will help other people out, but it will be totally worth it. It's going to be a beautiful party. We got it? We have sound? Yeah, you contribute to that. Oh, there we are.
Contributing to Metron is quick and easy. Simply text the amount you would like to give to 404-620-5044. And now you can give anytime by texting this number.
Easy peasy.
You will then receive a one-time registration form that links your phone number and opens your account at SimpleGive. Complete the form, and you will then receive a successful registration and donation page. For additional information on your account, visit bishandthenow.com and click the Support tab. Then, My Online Donation. When you contribute to Metron, you're also supporting the charity or organization of the month. Thank you for your investment in Metron.
You're applauding giving? Good, I like it. If you have a check, just make the JESM, and Danny will be back there in the back. If you have cash, just pay it forward. Go bless somebody. Take somebody to lunch. Just pay it forward. It's a real blessing. Just the other day, I guess they do this a lot at Starbucks, but I was I think I told you, I was in the drive-through, and I got up there, and I was close to $10 what I was ordering, and the guy said, your coffee and sandwich has already been covered. I said, by whom? She's the lady in the car in front of you. And it's amazing, just that little simple act. It really just changed the energy on the day. I mean, I'm already generous, but there really is something to paying it forward. Like the whole day I was doing that kind of thing for other people because it just felt so good. It was, I know it was only like eight something, close, somewhere between 8 and 10. It's not that much money. It was just the idea of somebody saying, yeah, it was just really, I was amazed at how much positive energy was on that. So you're going to have a beautiful day. Good night's sleep. Whatever you got coming up this week, you're strong, you're successful, you're wise, you're intelligent, you're attractive. God believes in you, believe in yourself. You're surrounded by love. As you bind mercy and truth about your neck, he gives you favor with God and man. You have favor, good things are coming to you. If you've been disappointed about the way something didn't work out, then just see it with new eyes. Rethink it. I speak health to your body. Those that are traveling back from the Thanksgiving holiday, I speak safety over them. And you wake up tomorrow saying, this is the day the Lord has enabled me to make. I will rejoice and be glad in it. God bless you. Go in peace. Love you. Got mad love for you.